Good day. Today we're going to talk about system development life cycle. Okay. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define what a system is. You should be able to define system development life cycle. You should be able to draw a system development life cycle diagram. Okay, a chart. You should also be able to describe the stages involved in system development. Okay, moving forward. System here refers to the collection of interconnected and interrelated. Okay, they must be connected and interrelated in nature. I'm referring to components. Okay, that function together as an entity towards a common goal. Okay, you have different components, you have different parts, subsystems working together to achieve a common goal. That is what we call a system. Just like you can talk about the respiratory system, the central nervous system and all that. They are made up of different organs, okay, of the body. Okay. So, but in this case, we're referring to a computer system, whether it's a hardware system or a software system. Okay. Now, system development is actually a planned process. You don't wake up one morning and then you decide to create a software or design a hardware to solve a problem. No, you plan, you sit down, you consider properly. Okay, it involves series of well-defined steps. Okay, now system development simply refers to the process of creating a new system to solve a given problem. So when you're creating a new system, you want to solve a given problem, that becomes system development. Remember, we said whether it's hardware or software system. Okay, so system development life cycle, which is the SDLC, is a collection of interconnected steps that should be followed in developing a new system. Okay, it may not be an entirely new system; it can just be an upgrade to what is already existing. All right. Now, these are the stages involved in system development. I must say that these steps are not cast in stones. Okay, they could be tweaked a little bit to suit the kind of system you're designing, okay, to suit it. But this is just a guide that should be followed, and then it will be easy for anyone to design any system. So you know exactly what stage you are, and then you know how to plan yourself and know your milestones. Okay, so we're looking at these following steps. There are 6 of them here. The stages or the steps. You have the investigation stage, you have the system analysis stage, you have the design stage, you have the implementation or the development proper, you have deployment, and then you have maintenance. All right, so this is a chart just trying to explain that briefly in a glance. Okay, all right, so I will try to explain what you do in each of these stages as simple as possible. Okay. All right, so you can find an acronym to easily help you remember this. IADIDM. So you can find the word around it, so just to help you remember. All right. So moving forward. Now it is called a cycle because it is a continuous process. It is continuous in nature because even if you have any system, there will be need for an upgrade, there will be need for a newer version, a better version of the system. So that is why this process is continuous. Okay, it's a cycle. You keep doing it after maintenance. When we get to this stage, I will get to explain why it is actually a continuous process. Okay, better. All right, moving forward. Step 1, you do system investigation. This involves the study of an existing system. You have a system that is already on ground. Okay. Whether it's your business system or just a computer system or a hardware, okay, or a software, you have something that is already existing. It may not be computerized like the case of a business that may not have been automated yet, okay. So whatever you're looking at, it is important for you to do an investigation, okay. It enables the system analyst to identify the problem with the existing system. Okay, so first of all, a system analyst is the head of the system development team. He or she is entrusted with the burden of managing the resources and people who are developing the system. So the system development team the answer to the system analyst. Okay, so so it helps the system analyst to identify the problem with the existing system. Of course, you would not want to create a system if there's nothing wrong with the existing one. Okay, so we need to identify what the problem is. There are various methods of understanding an existing system. You can use the interviews, questionnaires, observation. Then you can decide to study existing documents. Okay, documents from the system already. That can give you a glance. You can easily know what is wrong with the system and what you can do to fix it. Okay, now at the end of this stage, a feasibility report is produced. This very report will tell us if we can go ahead with the system development or not, if there is a problem, what the problem is. So this very report will tell you, will identify the problem and tell you the feasibility. Do we have enough money to run this course? Do we have the technical know-how and all that? So this very report will state all of it. Okay, so this report will contain the problems identified and the viability of the development process. Is it viable? Should we go ahead or should we not go ahead? Okay, now the report will tell if the development process will continue or not. So at this point, if it's not going to work, there will be a suggestion. Drop this. Let's go for something else. Okay, so stage 2, you now begin to analyze. You know what the problem is now, so you start to analyze. You begin to look at the problem closely to see how you can solve it. Okay, so this stage will produce the system requirements. You begin to list out the requirements. What and what do you need? Does the system require? If it is a school system, you begin to check what can a student do, what can a teacher do, what are the subjects the students are offering. All of these are the system requirements. Okay, so you begin to list them out and begin to arrange them properly, and then you begin to tell yourself, okay, this is the problem, this is how I intend to solve the problem. Okay, all right, so that is what actually goes on in the analysis stage. Then the system design stage. This is where you know exactly what to do to solve the problem. You begin to write out more like an action plan. You put it in paper this time. You write in designs, whether you are just listing them out or having a chart about them, a drawing like flow charts. There are lots of other charts, use case diagrams, activity diagrams, and all that. So you get to put them down in paper in black and white, how you intend to solve the problem, how the system will look like. You consider the interface, you consider the activities, different stages of processes. So you take note of the processes and the procedures. Okay, this stage describes the action plan on how the new system will be built. Okay, all right, stage 4, which is the implementation phase. You're implementing what you've already designed in stage 3. Remember that. Okay, you have a design already. Let's say you have a building plan. You begin to carry out the building plan. So the carrying out of the building plan is the implementation. Okay, so in this case, for a system development, you already have charts, you have drawings. Okay, you have the processes and procedures already spelled out. So what you do in stage 4 is to begin to develop them, begin to implement, carry out the actions that you have listed already. Your action plan, you begin to execute them. Okay, if it is a software system, you begin to write the code in the program specific, in the programming language specific that you need. Okay, that very language you want to use to develop it, you can begin to do that. Meanwhile, what you did in stage 3 is not program specific. Okay, it's not program specific, it is generic in nature. So any programming language can be used to develop it, but here it is not generic, it is specific, because you are not going to develop it using a particular programming language. That is if you're talking about a software system. All right, moving forward, stage 5, system deployment stage. Okay, so this very stage now is where you begin to prepare your system in readiness for use. Okay, you begin to do some installation. You begin to install the system into the environment where the system is meant to solve the problem. Okay, so that very environment, you install it. If you design them in bits, in different components, you begin to bring the components together, put them together and connect them. Okay, so they can begin to solve the problem. And then while you're there, you can do an extra testing. Okay, remember that let me mention this in stage 4. While you're developing your testing, the different components, then you can also join them together and test and see how they work. All right, but the kind of testing you do in deployment here, it's the kind of testing you do in deployment here is about you're now testing to see how the system will behave at work. Okay, how the system can cope with the stress of the work, and then to see how your system can handle challenges. All right, after that you do your system maintenance. Now this is the stage where you need to evaluate the existing system to see if there are emerging user needs, okay, that were not captured before. So you look at it closely and try to monitor the system closely to know lapses. Okay, now with those problems that you've pointed out in mind, you now go back to the first stage afresh. Which is identification of problem. Okay, so that is why we say it's a cycle. It is continuous, it doesn't end. You have different versions of applications. Okay, from time to time they tell you update because they do maintenance from time to time. There are new features that will be added to the new version. All right, I think that'll be it for today. That'll be it for today. Okay, so take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys later. All right, so you can like this video, subscribe to this channel. All right, so that when next I post anything, you'll be the first to know. Okay, thank you very much. You can also use this opportunity to check out my ICT videos that I've been making. Okay, yes, I've been making lots of ICT videos. I'm hoping to keep doing that. All right, so I'll see you guys around. Take care of yourself. Bye.